Caitlin Clark does not need much space here.
This kid, Angel Reese, has something about her.
Her personality. Contagious.
She makes, in her.
At just 23 years old, she's doing far more than just competing in women's basketball. She's actively redefining what the sport looks like at its highest levels. Clark's meteoric rise hasn't just shattered records, it's pulled women's basketball into a new era, one marked by packed arenas, primetime TV slots, and fan engagement that rivals the men's game. Her influence goes well beyond the numbers. She's rewriting the narrative, inspiring a generation, and putting pressure on the sport to keep up with her pace. But this story isn't just about Caitlin Clark's highlights or hardware. It's also about those who've stood across from her, the stars, the legends, and the elite-level talents who've tried to match her fire on the court. And in many cases, Clark didn't just meet the moment, she surpassed it. This isn't just a highlight reel. It's a deeper dive into what it's like to go toe-to-toe with one of basketball's brightest stars, and come away having witnessed firsthand the sheer gravitational force of her rise. Before Clark exploded onto the scene, the face of college women's basketball was undeniably Sabrina Ionescu. The number 1 pick in the 2020 WNBA draft, Ionescu was a walking triple-double at Oregon, the only NCAA player ever, male or female, to rack up 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 1,000 assists in a college career. Her dominance set a new gold standard, until Caitlin Clark arrived. Last year, Clark made history in a defining matchup against Michigan, dropping a stunning 49 points and becoming the NCAA's all-time leading scorer in women's basketball with 3,569 points, and she did it in just 126 games. That moment didn't just crown her as a new scoring queen, it lit the fuse for a generational rivalry. When Clark and Ionescu finally met on the professional stage, it wasn't just a matchup, it was a moment. The rookie sensation delivered a commanding triple-double, powering the Indiana Fever to an 83-78 win over Ionescu's New York Liberty. Clark came out hot, draining 3 deep threes and racking up 11 points in the first quarter alone. By the end of the third, she had double-digit assists, and she sealed her triple-double with a final rebound in the fourth. Ionescu led the Liberty with 22 points, but it wasn't enough. The story belonged to Clark, and the message was clear. This wasn't just a win, it was a formal introduction. A rookie announcing herself against an icon, planting her flag at the highest level from day one. But Ionescu wasn't the only Titan to feel the heat from Clark's rising flame. Enter Diana Taurasi, a name synonymous with greatness in women's basketball. For Clark, Taurasi wasn't just a future Hall of Famer, she was the player Clark grew up idolizing. Her passion, precision, and relentless competitiveness shaped Clark's own game. That long-awaited dream matchup finally arrived on June 30, 2024. Taurasi came in with her trademark swagger, showing flashes of vintage brilliance, draining shots, threading passes, and asserting early control. But as the game wore on, Clark's presence, that unrelenting intensity, began to shift the dynamic. Though Taurasi put in a strong performance overall, she appeared noticeably tentative when assigned to defend Clark. And that hesitation told the story, even legends feel the weight of Caitlin Clark's presence. In the end, the performance served as another bold statement, that Clark isn't the future of the league anymore. She's very much the present. Still, not every encounter was a landslide in Clark's favor. Occasionally, her rivals struck back. One of those moments came against Indiana Hoosiers star Mackenzie Holmes. In a game that stunned the college basketball world, Holmes dropped 23 points and grabbed 9 boards, leading the Hoosiers to an 86-69 upset win over Clark's Iowa squad. Clark, still riding the momentum from breaking the all-time NCAA scoring record, posted 24 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. Solid numbers, but it was her efficiency that told a different story. She shot just 8 of 26 from the field and went ice-cold from deep, hitting only 3 of her 16 three-point attempts. Even more telling? Just 4 points in the entire second half. Coming off a loss to Illinois earlier that same week, Indiana came in focused and ready. They'd studied the film, made the adjustments, and executed the blueprint to disrupt Clark's rhythm, and it worked. And yet, even in defeat, Clark remained the centerpiece. Hoosiers fans celebrated the win, sure, but they also couldn't look away from Clark's presence on the court. Her ability to dominate attention, win or lose, speaks volumes about the magnitude of her star power. Social media was ablaze. Ironically, many Indiana fans vented about Clark's struggles rather than basking in their own team's success. That's the power of a true phenom. But while teams could win the battle, few players managed to win the one-on-one war against Clark. Take Diamond Miller, for example. One of the most electric scorers in college basketball, she was poised to give Clark a run for her money. And she did, for a time. In a head-to-head clash in February 2023, Clark went off for 42 points against Maryland. Miller held her own with 27, but the outcome was never in question. Iowa rolled to a dominant win. In their rematch at the Big Ten tournament semifinals, Clark once again exploded for 42 points, leading Iowa to a 96-82 victory. It was her sixth career 40-point game, and she made it look effortless. Miller brought her a game, but it simply wasn't enough. On nights like these, Clark didn't just elevate her play, she separated herself entirely from even the elite. She wasn't just the best scorer on the floor, she was operating in a different stratosphere. And her dominance wasn't limited to conference play. Nationally ranked opponents found themselves in the same position. Shot after shot, possession after possession, Caitlin Clark bends the arc of basketball games to her will. Whether it's a contested three launched from absurd distance, a fearless drive into a forest of defenders, or a perfectly timed pass to a cutting teammate, she finds a way to control the narrative. Her 44-point performance against Virginia Tech wasn't just a scoring clinic, it was an assertion of dominance over one of the top teams in the country. Georgia Amoore fought valiantly, dropping 31 points in a back-and-forth duel that kept fans on the edge. But in the end, it was Clark who wrote the final sentence, draining a late free throw to secure both the win and her personal statement. In doing so, she didn't just outshine a top-tier player, she absorbed and then eclipsed a great performance, a motif becoming increasingly familiar in her career. But not every battle is won solely through scoring. Against Cody McMahon and the Ohio State Buckeyes, Clark faced a different kind of test, relentless pressure from an opponent who matched her intensity and refused to blink. In a nationally televised overtime thriller, McMahon exploded for 33 points and 12 rebounds, rising in the clutch to carry Ohio State to a 92-87 victory. Clark countered with a season-high 45 points, scoring all of Iowa's points in overtime. But the disparity in support from teammates was glaring. No other Hawkeye broke the 14-point mark. Clark was magnificent, but she was alone. This pattern, of brilliance weighed down by burden, followed her into the WNBA. Early in her rookie campaign, the Connecticut Sun and veteran DeWanna Bonner presented her with a brutal defensive test. Bonner, known for shutting down elite scorers, initially appeared to have the upper hand. Foul trouble sent Clark to the bench, and the Sun seized momentum. Yet upon her return, Clark adapted, and with a calculated burst of offense, she powered the Fever to a tight 84-80 win, silencing critics and earning her redemption. It was a powerful lesson, even when neutralized temporarily, Clark doesn't vanish, she recalibrates. That adaptability was on display again in one of her most symbolic professional matchups yet, against Kelsey Plum, the very player whose NCAA scoring record Clark shattered. In front of a roaring crowd, Plum stole the show with 34 points on blistering efficiency, leading the Las Vegas Aces to victory. Clark, for her part, struggled with her shot but still tallied a respectable 13 points, 11 assists, and 6 rebounds. The mutual respect was clear post-game, with both number 1 draft picks sharing a moment of sportsmanship. The torch may have passed for the night, but the road ahead promises many more epic clashes between the two. Interestingly, some of Clark's most personal and emotionally charged battles came not from league legends, but from collegiate rivals who studied her tendencies up close, like Yarden Garcon of Indiana. In a 2023 game at Assembly Hall, Garcon executed a rare feat, she visibly rattled Clark. A defensive stop turned into a heated verbal exchange, with Clark showing uncharacteristic emotion. Indiana capitalized, pulling away in the second half for an emphatic 86-69 win. Clark still filled the stat sheet with 24 points, 10 boards, and 9 assists, but the game illustrated something deeper. The psychological game matters, and sometimes, even the fiercest competitors are human. But perhaps the most scrutinized rivalry of Clark's young career is her ongoing saga with Angel Reese, a storyline that transcends the court and taps into the broader cultural conversation. Their collegiate battles were electric, and in a highly anticipated WNBA rematch, Clark wasted no time taking control. Crisp, creative passes. Deep threes. Relentless tempo. By the end of the third quarter, the Fever were up by 14, while Reese struggled with just a single point and a -4+ rating in that frame. This wasn't just a game, it was a statement. What these rivalries, matchups, and milestones all reveal is simple. Caitlin Clark is not just a player, she's a proving ground. For opponents, she's a litmus test. For fans, she's a spectacle. And for the sport, she's a seismic shift. Having faced WNBA icons, collegiate phenoms, elite defenders, and psychological warfare, one thing is abundantly clear: Caitlin Clark is here not just to compete, but to redefine what's possible in women's basketball. She's already altered the landscape. But the most pressing question remains, has Caitlin Clark already cemented her place among the WNBA's elite, or is the best still to come? We want to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Clark is on her way to becoming an unstoppable force in the sport? And if you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more in-depth analysis on the players and rivalries shaping the future of basketball.